What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Wisconsin Investor Podcast. I'm super excited for today's episode because I got my bro Carter Crowley with me, who I'm going to introduce here in a second. But before I do that, I want to talk about some data that we just put out on our website. I talked about this on a few of the episodes already. One of the questions we hear in the wholesale business at Wisconsin Discount Properties is, are your ARVs accurate? Carter and I were actually just talking about some markets that he's in. There's some other wholesalers in that market who are maybe not so great at figuring out ARVs. And it's a challenge, right? It's a tough thing. But we ran some data. We looked at 50 flips from those of you guys that have bought deals from us over, I think it was in 2024, and what they sold for. And we were on average $5,000 below the ARV that they actually sold for. And we included the clean and listers. So these were ones where we said, hey, after repair value is going to be this, but some people just bought them, cleaned them, listed them, and sold it for less. They still made their margin, but we included those. So our ARVs are actually probably quite a bit more conservative than what these properties are actually selling for. So if you're interested in getting some off-market deals, head to WisconsinDiscountProperties.com, put your information in, you get added to our buyers list. It's free. You get on the list, you get emails sent to you every single Monday with deals that you can scoop up like that and make some big juicy profits like we're going to talk about today with my boy Carter Crowley. What's up, Carter?
Not much. Living the dream.
Excited to get you on here, man. I can't believe we haven't had you on yet, dude. I've been doing this almost a year now. I'm like, why did I not have Carter on yet?
Well, hey, no, I appreciate the invite, the offer, and it's always fun to talk business, talk real estate, in life. So yeah, I'm excited, Corey.
Yeah, this will be fun. Well, Carter, tell everybody a little bit, like, who is Carter Crowley and how did you get into this whole real estate thing?
Yeah, so I am currently 29 years old. Started in the real estate space in 2015. So I was going to UW Oshkosh, went for a year, dropped out, got into real estate via like a real estate license, was helping individuals buy and sell real estate as a license agent for probably the better part of 5 years before kind of transition the business into the investing space more full-time, like fix and flip, wholesale, rentals. And then from there, we have ramped up the business quite considerably since then. Yeah. But it's been really good. Like it's a heck of a lot more enjoyable than traditional real estate, at least in my opinion. I don't necessarily love showing like buyers the occasional house or 20 different houses to buy one of them. I'd rather kind of go out and do it on our own. Yeah. So it's been awesome. Like I've honestly loved every second of it. And yeah, now going on, I don't even know, 2025. So how many years of experience? Yeah. That is 10 years, I guess, in the real estate industry. So it's been a whirlwind in all sorts of stories, scenarios that's been absolutely crazy.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's the thing in this business. The thing I love about the real estate business, for those of you guys that are just thinking about getting started, if you like things to never be the same, get into real estate, right? Like there's always like some crazy, weird scenarios that pop up. You're always learning. You're always like, what? You can do that? Or this happened? I didn't even know that was a thing. Like you're always learning stuff, man. Buyer's agents, dude, I feel bad. We have buyer's agents that listen to this and I'm with you, man. Like you got to be.
It's a grind.
You got to be a special breed to enjoy that job.
Well, and the way I look at it, I'm like, okay, you can represent these buyers or sellers or whatever the case is. And I still currently list and sell all of our flip houses. Okay. So I'm an agent still on that side of things, but like representing buyers, like if you did that for yourself, if you take the same work ethic and effort and everything like that and got into flipping or wholesaling, like you would freaking kill it. Like that's as simple as it is. Cause it's like, okay, now you're working on your own time, like maybe a little bit different skill set, but you're still going out meeting with owners and the same thing, negotiating deals. And I don't know, like I kind of have a special place in my heart for buyer's agents because
they are amazing.
And it freaking sucks. Like dealing with buyers all the time. I'm like, that's like you're dealing with the worst of the worst at certain points. Like there's some people that are fantastic, other people are miserable.
Absolutely.
Like that's I don't know.
That is one of the reasons. So we do some flips, right? You do way more flips than we do. We do some flipping, and that is the worst part of flipping. I feel like is dealing with the buyers. Like they're just it's like Bridezilla. The property
all the time. And there's certain agents that I'm like, okay, like let's try to get multiple offers on this place. Like we're definitely not taking an offer from this agent if they write on it, but the other agents, like they're still on contention because like on the other side of that transaction, like you go under contract and then it's like, they're just trying to ream you out on every little detail. I'm like, it's a freaking like 1920s house. There's no 1920s house that's going to be perfect, especially if you're selling it for 200 grand or 150,000. Like you kind of have to have the expectation going in that there's going to be stuff, and just try to work through that a little bit.
For sure. So you got started in the investing side. Was it 2020? Is that when you started?
Yeah. Like,
okay.
We our first like actual flip house was like we bought one. So we kind of the backstory, we got involved in like a guru type program. Like we paid the, and when I say we, I'm saying myself and then my dad, who's my business partner.
Okay.
So we put up the huge lump sum payment on credit cards to get into this like guru type program. Yeah. So that was 2015. And then I'm like, well, if I'm doing that, I might as well get licensed. So then I got licensed. We didn't really do anything in the program until I came to my senses in 2018. I'm like, okay, I've been in real estate for 3 years now. Like I see all these transactions going on. The prices back then were freaking dirt cheap compared to now. And I'm like, why don't we try doing this on our own? So we started sending out some mailers. We started doing bandit signs actually back then.
Oh yeah.
And we got our first flip house under contract and wholesale deal in the same week from bandit signs.
No way.
Like, yeah. So that was sick. And it's like then the city would call you and read me out. Cause like, okay, you can't be doing this stuff. We don't do that anymore. But back then we did. Yeah. So like that's a low barrier to entry.
For sure.
And with the bandit signs, like the first wholesale deal was like minimal profit. I think like $3,000 or $4,000. The flip house, we ended up profiting like 17 grand. So not even a great flip house, but I'm like, it got our feet wet. We got some experience. You build a little bit of a track record.
For sure.
And then it gives you the confidence to execute. But then like after 2018, we slowly started doing more deals. And then 2020, 2021, like during COVID, I was like, hey, I'm going to just commit to this full time on my side instead of trying to sell houses and representing people. Like, let's just get into the investment business.
So you pretty much hung it all up at that point, 2020, 2021, COVID,
and then,
just said, let's go all in on the investment side of stuff.
I was like, I'm not going to represent buyers anymore. I don't really want to go out and show houses and not be able to like shake people's hand and like meet them, talk to them, like really without a mask on or what have you.
Oh,
I'm like, this is just a little bit more nuanced. And I'm like, this is a decent point. And it took a little bit of a hit on income because like you kind of go from representing anyone and everyone, friends, family, so on and so forth, to only listing houses. Well, but like that more focus on the investment business, like made me surpass that income goal pretty fast.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of a slingshot period, especially with flips, right? Like your cash conversion cycle is going to be quite a bit longer than if you have a buyer. If you're a buyer's agent, you're 45 days maybe. Yep. You're flipping, you're 4 to 6 months probably before you're collecting your profit check, right? So so you're going to have that little lull there where you got a little bit of dip for sure.
And with the flip houses, that's where it's like, even on our side now, we kind of cherry pick. And I know like Tony from Good Faith, he always made fun of me for saying this, but I'm like, we're cherry picking the best deals for ourselves. We're going to sell off or wholesale off or just relist the other crappier houses, so to say. Because like for us now, we're just trying to focus on the cosmetic remodels, get in and out within a month and a half, and then relist them. Because it's just better for the profit margins than honestly the cash conversion of the business. Because then it's like, okay, we're not draining our bank account for the next 3 months working on this place. Let's try to make this a little bit more efficient, so to say.
For sure. How many flips are you guys doing now a year on average?
Generally, we're trying to, at any given point, we're trying to have like 3 or 4 in progress. So it's like if we're selling some off, sometimes there's more. Like at the high point this year, I think we had 9 in progress. And I'm like, that's a lot of flip properties and a lot of cash going out. So it depending upon when houses are selling, when we're relisting, how far we are in the remodel process. But like right now, our sweet spot is like 3, 4, 5 in progress, have multiple listed, and then be acquiring some on the backside, or just like buying and relisting the other ones that we come across at any given point.
So you might have, a dozen of them that you own at any particular time, but there's 3 or 4 that are under construction at any point.
That's exactly it.
Okay, cool. How are you financing these? You talk kind of like, hey, money can be an issue. Talk about how did you finance that first flip? And then what does that financing strategy look like today? And I'm sure it's a mixed bag, but I'm interested to hear how you're navigating that.
Phenomenal question on that side, because that was the biggest like catalyst to growing the business. Like, okay, we don't have unlimited money on our side, and most of these we are not buying with our own money. But the first one was private money from a family member.
Okay.
So they gave us the purchase price. It was a $65,000 purchase price. So they lent us that. Okay. We financed the rehab out of pocket. So I had my own money into the rehab to finance, and it was like a $32,000 renovation on the very first one. So I'm like, well, I have money saved. I have credit cards, whatever the case is. We'll do whatever it takes to get that one going.
Yeah.
But as we've grown and become a little bit more sophisticated, our best financing strategy is actually through a local like commercial lender. The ones that do ARV loans, we specifically use West Point Bank out of Oshkosh. They're great to work with on our side. We've had a track record experience with them.
Yep.
And they'll finance 85% loan to value, purchase plus rehab. We just have to come out of pocket closing costs.
Okay.
That's been great for us because it's like, okay, we're buying these fix and flips with $4,000 or $5,000 out of pocket.
Wow.
I'm like, you can really scale up a flipping operation doing that. And then like we use hard money lenders still, and then still private money on that side to finance the rest of them, depending upon how much the bank is willing to take on or how quick the closings are actually happening. Like, because if it's a quick close, the bank might not be able to get an appraisal done or what have you in whatever 14 days or 21 days.
Yeah.
So
let's talk a little bit about the money thing, Kurt, because that's always everybody's role.
Oh, it is.
Like you did not in your early 20s, it sounded like have a rich uncle with briefcases full of cash to give you, or a trust fund that you could tap into, right?
No,
you had to figure this out, right?
Yeah, we were
bootstrapping, right? And and I think that might be like when I started. I remember Tony from Good Faith. He was one of my early mentors, and I remember him and his brothers. He was telling me like one day, all of a sudden, he just finally tells me he owns like 50 rental doors, and I was like, how did you get to 50 rental? Like how? And he was like a traditional mortgage broker at the time. I'm like, dang, I went and got my mortgage license because I was like, he must be making bank. Dude's buying 50 rental doors, 20% down, paying all this rehab.
Exactly.
This is crazy. And then I figured out like, oh no, he wasn't doing that. He was using a lot of private money, and he was basically his own hard money lender and all these things, and kind of learned that whole process. But I think for a lot of people out there that are listening to this that are maybe newer, or even some of us that have been in the game for a while, there's always new ways to get money. Like you just mentioned West Point, and they do something a little bit different. Like there's so many different community banks. They all have different appetite. They have different programs, that kind of thing. Let's talk a little bit about first that West Point relationship. They're doing 85%. Is that of the ARV? They're doing 85%?
It is. So they'll go 85% of the ARV. And the caveat to that is in the beginning, they didn't have, like there's a certain risk threshold that they'll have with any new borrower. So we did have to put down on the very first one, 10%.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So then they're whatever, 75% loan to value. But with that, over time, as we've had the proven track record of, hey, we're saying the ARV on this place is 310. They get the appraisal done. It's actually at 325. Okay. They're a little bit more, we're a little bit more conservative in our judgment. We're giving them rehab numbers that are actually legitimate for what it'll cost us. And then you have the performance, the track record of, okay, they said it was going to take 6 weeks or 8 weeks to remodel this place. We came in right around that time frame, in performance and just doing what we said we're going to do. And in the beginning, we grew it a little bit slower than probably most people might. Like we didn't bite off more than what we could chew. But by that performance with West Point, now we've created a track record that they'll lend us on a lot of different projects, even whether it's in the Fox Valley area or out of the area in just different parts of Wisconsin. They're still willing to take on that loan just because we've proven ourselves time and time again. And that's the huge thing. And you probably had the same experience, Corey, on the local lending side of things with local banks. It's like once you prove yourself time and time again, they are willing to change things a little bit or work with your business a little bit better. So then you're a little bit more capitalized in areas that you didn't necessarily think that you could actually get to that point.
For sure. And that's always like the chicken or the egg for people out there, right? Like brand new people that a lot of times they want to do real estate because they don't have a lot of money and they want to make more money. It's like you got to almost find a way to get scrappy on that first deal or two and make sure that you're successful. And just like you said, just doing what you said you're going to do. It doesn't even have to work out perfectly. You just got to communicate, I think, is the biggest thing with these community banks is just communication and just telling them what's going on. Don't try to hide if something's going wrong. Even with your hard money lenders, don't hide from them. Don't ignore them. Just be upfront, be honest, open communication. And I think it goes a long way, even if the deal goes south or it goes bad, as long as they get paid back, even if it didn't go perfect, but you communicated in the process. I think you're going to build a lot of relational capital with them. And that's going to open up a lot of doors. Like you said, you can do so many deals right now, Carter, because all you got to do is pay for the freaking closing costs. I mean, that's insane.
And then once you build up the nest egg, like, and it doesn't take that many deals, like it's a high margin business. So it's like, if you're making, say on average, like 10% of the resale price in profit. So if it's a $250,000 house, you make $25,000 in profit. Well, like you can kind of snowball that into multiple different properties. And even if you're leaving some money aside for taxes and if you have overhead costs, marketing, employees, what have you, like you're still able to scale up a business and make a pretty decent income in the process. And that's where I recommend to any of my friends or acquaintances in the business, like, hey, probably start building the relationship sooner than you actually need it.
Yes.
Because if you find like this amazing flip property that is just literally a buy and relist, well, now you have the ability to finance it. And you're not passing that up or trying to wholesale a deal that you're going to make $5,000 on or $10,000 on. You can actually make $50,000 on this deal.
Correct. That's such good advice. And I actually was just talking to one of our employees this week who she's pretty aggressive on wanting to get some properties, and she's on top of, we have, she's like, hey, we want to get our next property. I'm thinking of talking to this bank or this bank. And what do you recommend? I'm like, this is awesome that you're getting out in front of it. Like you said, Carter, I'm like, kudos to you for like getting out in front of these relationships before you need them.
Correct. And that's the main thing. It's like, hey, and then you can provide the bank with evidence. It's like, hey, this is my experience so far. Like, hey, I'm identifying these. This is where the numbers are at. Even if you do a few deals prior to going to that bank, it's like, hey, here's the track record of my past deals. Yes. Like, I know obviously past deals don't necessarily mean future success, but like it kind of speaks for itself. And I bought it at 100, stuck in 50, sold it for 250 or whatever the case might be. I'm just using round numbers.
Right.
But it creates that trust factor that like you're dealing with people at the end of the day. It's a very much a people-based business. And the more relationships that you create on that side, honestly, the opportunities are endless. Especially if you plan on doing it for a little bit of time.
One of my favorite books I've mentioned many times on the podcast, Who Not How. Your bankers are great who's, and they can open up so many doors for you. Because a lot of times you're like, how am I going to get the money? It's like, no, who has the money that I need? And then it's just building relationships with as many of those people. It's like, and my advice to her last week was talk to all these different banks. Don't just go to this one. Talk to them all. Because even if this bank right now says, no, not right now, come back to me after blah, blah, blah. At least, okay, cool. I started the relationship. Like you said, I'm going to go build a little bit of a track record and then treat it like a job, right? Like my parents are always funny on this. I always gave my mom crap because they got into it. And like, she kind of had this expectation that the bank is working for her. And I'm like, no. You got that wrong. You like, they have the money. You need the money. You got to you got to approach them professionally. You got to like, sometimes you got to stay on them and they might be testing you in a way. You don't even know they're testing you. But they want to see like, how bad do you want this, right? Like, are you just going to send me one email and then I'll never hear from you again?
Oh, exactly.
And they got a million people trying to get money from them. You got to be the squeaky wheel sometimes in the nicest way, get in front of them. So,
and that's the main thing. It's like, hey, if you're like, they're taking a risk on you. It's not like they're borrowing you $50, $100. Like it's typically $50, $100, $250,000. It's like, they need to know that you're going to have some sort of work ethic. When it comes into it, it's like, okay, hey, I'm going to send this one person a cold email. I'm never going to call them. I'm never even going to visit their office. No, you're probably not going to get a loan from them.
Correct. And FaceTime, I think that's important, Carter. It's so huge. Important. It's so important.
When you meet someone, you can kind of get a feel for, like, I don't know, first impressions, at least in my opinion, they do go a long way. If the first impression is bad or you seem untrustworthy, can you get out of that? Of course you can. But if consistently you're making a bad impression on people, well, that kind of I don't know, it lasts. Like
It
it
does.
definitely lasts. And then it's like, okay, well, are we going to do business with this person?
Right.
Maybe, maybe not. Probably
Right.
not.
Right.
So
I think one of the misconceptions for people out there too is like if you're a mortgage broker and like you've bought in a house before,
yeah,
that's very much like, do you check these boxes that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have set up?
yeah,
And it doesn't matter if you're the biggest jackass in the world. As long as you check the boxes, we'll give you a loan, right?
exactly.
In the commercial space, like you mentioned, Carter, it's all relationship, man.
Oh,
They don't have to give anybody a loan for any reason. They can
no,
just deny you because they don't like you. It's
exactly.
just plain and simple. Or
It's
they
like,
don't
oh,
trust
you're
you.
exactly. And people, they're like, oh, I don't know why I didn't get a loan or whatever the case is. Like, well, again, it's a people business. Do they even know who you are? Or have you just
Right.
called them over the phone and then complained about something or asked to do something? It's like,
Right.
no, that we're not going to lend to you. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that.
Yeah.
And people discount that quite a bit.
For sure. The biggest way I think of it always goes back to getting a job. Like if you were thinking of trying to get a job, how would you approach
Yeah.
that company or that hiring director or whatever? Treat it the same way in the commercial lending space.
Correct.
It's the same kind of thing. Talk about the private money now. So you got somebody to give you 65 grand on a deal, and you've never done a deal before.
Yeah. So
how did that happen?
So that it was actually a family member of ours. It was so that helped that it was family.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, it's like you don't have anything. We had no real estate experience. I had no real estate experience. My dad at that point had no real estate experience. And it's like, okay, well, now we need to try to get a little bit more creative with this. On that very first one, we tried getting a hard money loan from an out-of-state company.
Okay.
They almost completely blew up the deal. Like appraisal came in on their side at like 89,000 completely fixed up for the house. And we ended up selling it for 135. So I'm like,
Whoa.
well, that was off. And they didn't want to give us what we needed in order to purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some contention there with myself and my dad on the front side, because he's like, oh, this is a terrible deal. And I'm like, no, it's not a terrible deal. I'm like, their appraisal was shitty. Like that's what it came down to. So then we talked to some family members. It ended up being my grandma actually gave us the initial loan amount. Which is like, hey, this is my risk threshold. Like you're gonna have to figure out the rest of the situation. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm willing to risk my money. And I had saved up enough from commissions and other stuff that I was doing. And I'm like, hey, I'll put material costs on credit card. Like I have no problem doing that on my side. I'll fund the labor bill out of pocket on my side. So it ended up working out extremely well. And then my dad pretty much managed the renovation, which is what he does today. And I'm like, hey, if you'll take on that responsibility, since I'm still listing and selling houses on my side, I will fund this completely out of my own pocket, which ended up working out extremely well. And then we of course profited on the first one, not as much as what we had hoped, but it was profitable. So I'm not going to complain about that.
Right. Grandma got paid back.
Hey,
you got
Grandma
all
got
your
paid
money
back.
back.
Yep.
You got to treat yourself a little bit, right? Yep. Nice. Yeah, I always say if you make anything on your first one, you're doing something right.
And that's where I'm like, it's not like the amount of experience that you gain, even on the deals nowadays that we lose money on. And we, of course, we're not trying to lose money on projects, but flip houses can sometimes go south. Like there's stuff that you're not aware of, or it sells for less than what you were hoping for, whatever the case is. There's the apparent risk. As long as the lender's made whole, you learn your lesson on the deal, and you pick up some stuff from it. It's like, okay, well, this is a learning experience. Let's chalk it up to that. Not make the same mistakes in the future. You can at least turn out a little bit better than most.
Yeah, there are a couple things on that, Carter. That's a great point. Like I've said this a few times on the show too. Is like I think of how much I paid to go to college, and I went to UW Eau Claire.
Yeah,
wasn't a crazy private school or anything like that, but it was still expensive. And I got a little piece of paper, and I made a few bucks with my degree, but nothing really crazy. If I gotta lose a little bit of money on some deals, but I learn a crap ton, and then I can make a ton more money in the long run, like it's way better than any college degree out there. I'm dealing with one right now in Jacksonport, Wisconsin. I've said it a couple times on the show too. Bought this place, thought it was a slam dunk deal. It's got a big pole building on it. So I'm like, great, I can rent that. I'll put an Airbnb, or I'll like fix this house up on the back, make it an Airbnb. This will be awesome. Well, I get a contractor in there, and it's like so bad. Like the house was so bad that he's like, I think you're better off just demoing it and putting up like a manufactured house by the time I would get done rehabbing it. I'm like, shoot. I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea. So I looked into that. Whole new process for me. I don't do new builds. I don't do anything, right? I'm looking at the numbers of the house, right? I'm like, oh, this is what the house costs. Nice house. I'm like, this is great. It was 170 grand for this modular or manufactured house, which is still expensive, right? I'm like, dang, for a trailer house, right?
Yeah.
In a sense, like whatever. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bath. This thing will be great. Well, then I have to start dealing with the county. I don't know. I didn't know how to deal with the county, so I'm like generaling this whole thing. I don't know what I'm doing. Counties, like, I can tell they think I'm an idiot, right? Yeah. And I have no clue. I'm making this up as I go, ChatGPT and stuff. Like,
hey, best resource.
So, so the property, the house, the slab, I was like, well, I'll just demo this one. I'll put one up similar size. I'll just put it back on the slab it was on. This will be great. County's like, for a new one, your back of your property is within a 40-foot setback of the rear property line, so you got to move it. I'm like, oh no, I got to do a new slab. How much is that? So that new slab, I ended up getting them to not make me move it too much.
Yep.
Thinking I can reuse the slab. Well, the slab drawings for a manufactured house are different each one because of where that steel beam goes in and where the reinforcement has to be. So I ended up having to do a new slab anyway, even though I kept it in the same spot. 18 grand later that I didn't budget for. Then I have to bring the well up to today's standards. So that's another 15 grand. Didn't budget for that one. Yeah. So excavation, all kinds of stuff. Like, I mean, it's this, the budget is blown. I got to hold this thing for 20 years to make any money back on it, but I'm learning a ton. I actually,
And that's like the way I look at it. And to that point, Corey, it's like, okay, can you look at it from the point of like, oh, woe is me. This is terrible. And you still feel like that. There's no way to get around that.
Right.
But like for future reference, if you ever decide to do it again, and generally I'm taking the approach of like, hey, I'm never buying a property like this again.
Yeah.
But you can learn a crap ton. Now, if someone else, runs across an experience like that, or at least even from the content side of things, it's like, hey, let's document this. Let's share it with the people we know, or even the people we don't know, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
They can learn from this, and hopefully something will come from it. And if nothing ever does, then whatever. Yeah. It's just in the knowledge bank up there.
For sure.
It's so interesting how you run across some of those scenarios, and then it's like, okay, now we just need to figure this out. Like let's try to get in and out without hemorrhaging so much money.
For sure.
And make the most out of it.
For sure. Well, the context too I got from this. So I was actually just before you and I got on recording this.
Yeah.
I was talking to the guy who's been doing he's like the coordinator, excavation company guy, whatever.
Yeah.
He's been an awesome contact for me. Super helpful. And he's like, we're joking because I was like, hey, when's that driveway going in now? Because now I got to put driveway in. Another cost I didn't think about. And then so I said, hey, when you guys going to go over and get that driveway done or whatever? And then he's like, what else is happening there? And I said, wow, we got this. Now we have to do skirting around this thing. I didn't know skirting was a thing. There goes another 10 grand.
Yeah.
Anyway. And he just starts chuckling and he goes, you're probably never going to do another one of these, are you? I said, you know what? I said that mid-process, and I said, but I've learned so much in this process now. Like, I think the next one I could do way better for way cheaper, and I would knock it out. And he starts laughing. He said something that was really funny. He said, the first time you do it, you feel like an idiot. The second time you do it, you're a consultant to everybody. Yeah. Which is so true. By the time you get to that second one, you know enough now that you could take it on. The other point I want to get back to, though, Carter, that I think is really important about what you're doing and what people who are doing some volume is important. If you only do one deal and you lose on that deal, you're screwed.
Correct.
You're out. But you have enough deals. You're kind of doing a sort of a dollar cost average across all these. And you might lose on some, but you make huge over here.
Yeah.
In the long term, you're going to make a nice profit. But I see that happen. Sometimes people go too slow. I'm not saying you got to go mortgage your life and make a bunch of mistakes and get out in front of your skis or anything like that. But just know, like, if you're out there listening to this and you did one deal and you lost on it, it's okay. You've probably, like Carter and I are talking about, learned so much in that process that you can go do another one and you're going to make some money. And then the next one you'll make more and more. And you'll be able to build on yourself. But you can't just do one and lose and that's it.
And that's the thing. It's like, okay, I know, at least in our business, and it's pretty systematized to knowing, like, okay, how many deals are coming in this month? What are we going to flip? What are we going to just take back to market? What are we going to keep ourselves? So on and so forth. But with any of those ones that go south, it's like we have this one over here that's going to make up for it.
Right.
And that's what, as long as you don't get completely out of the real estate space, eventually you are going to be in the positive. Right. And as long as you can sustain that and know that and have the confidence, then I think you should be in a somewhat decent place. But it's like, if you have that initial bad experience and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to blame this person, or I'm going to blame the contractor, I'm going to blame whomever during the transaction. Of course, it's not going to be a good experience. You're going to have a negative overall view of the flipping or rental space, and you're never going to want to deal with it again. And then you're going to keep spreading that word like a virus to everyone else in your personal network. It's like, oh, well, yeah, maybe real estate isn't the way to make profits or money. It's like, no, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Correct. Which is, you and I both have bought properties from people who are landlords, for example.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm sick of the tenants in the toilets.
Yeah.
You know, you hear that all the time. We're like, great. Good for us. We'll happily take your problems off your plate for you. And we love dealing with tenants and toilets. Or I say we, I mean, my management company does. And I love buying them. Right.
Exactly. So it's like, if you do it properly from the get-go and just talk to people with experience in the space, and then they'll advise you on, and of course you want the people that probably have your similar lifestyle that you actually admire. Because like, if you're asking advice from a landlord who has tenants who are not paying or absolutely hates the space, like, you're probably not going to be going down the right path to from the beginning.
Not the person you want to get mentorship from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Pick your mentors wisely. Right.
For sure. That's like, that is the golden nugget right there.
Yeah. Well, speaking of mentorship, do you have any mentor? Have you had I know you said you did the guru thing. Yeah. Was that, do you think that it was helpful?
I honestly, like, hindsight's always 20/20.
Right.
I don't think we would be at the spot today without investing that money. So I'm like, anyone who ever asks me, hey, should I sign up for this program or that program? If you will implement, and eventually we did implement on what we learned, we still use some of the resources today. We picked up a ton of knowledge from that. And I would highly recommend that people find a mentor who's operating or sustaining the business that you actually want to do. And in that program that we had signed up for, it was Fortune Builders. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
So we had signed up for Fortune Builders, and I'm like, it's basically systemizing the whole flipping process. And that's why we were and have been so heavily on the flip side, because like, that's what we learned. We implemented it. And I've been very grateful for that. And then today it's like, I've signed up for mentorship programs, whether it's on the apartment investing side or on the, right now I'm in one, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the guy, Ryan Dawsey. So I'm in his CCF program. And I'm like, just being around like-minded individuals who have similar goals or aspirations and who allow you to expand like your thought patterns or whatever is going on up here has been extremely vital for our business. And we've seen, since I've joined actually CCF, we've seen a drastic improvement in what we've been implementing. And like, probably wouldn't have known that before.
Yeah.
Like the cost of the mentorship is a certain dollar amount.
Right.
And like the amount that you gain over the course of months or years it's like, it pays for itself 10x or 20x or 30x or like an unlimited return.
100%. Yeah. I think that's great advice. And I think for people out there, one of the things that we run is the REI Success Club in Green Bay. It's kind of an entry into like mentorship,
for
right?
Sure.
In a way, like we're not there offering coaching programs, but we're there basically taking different people's experience levels. You've been there and spoke, right? And it's like, we're taking, okay, here's what Carter's doing really well. You can come and just for free, or I think, what do we charge, like $100 a year or something for some kind of, basically to make sure that you're vetted and you want to come and put in, but it's basically free. And you come and you get to learn from somebody like you who's doing what, probably 50, 60, 70 flips a year.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. And that's so like last year is just
insane.
under 50. Yeah. Yeah. So
it's insane.
With that, and like the I always call them like free monthly meetings, because they're essentially free. Like the minimal cost to it, I'm like, I'm not even going to count that in the actual cost, because the value that you gain in a networking environment that is wanting other people to win. Like there's some bad ones, but there's also a lot of good ones. Yeah. It's like, just be around the like-minded people that want you to win, want you to have success. Who are all in this for the long term. Yep. And
I think like what you're doing with Dossie, I'm in a mastermind called the Collective Genius.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of really good ones out there, but just being like the amount that you pay to be, like the higher you have to pay, almost, I feel like the more serious you take it, and then the more you get out of it. Right.
Yep.
So like ours for Collective Genius, I think is like 25 or 30 grand a year is what
Yep.
we pay. To me now, I'm like, that's nothing, dude. That's like one deal
Correct.
extra that we get. And it's not even about the information. Like when I go to the meetings, it's 4 times a year.
Yep.
It's an investment of time and energy. You got to fly out to all these different places and do this stuff. But just most of what I get is from conversations with people who I've, talked to or gotten to know over the years. I'm like, hey, what are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? What are you doing for this? It's not even like the presentations a lot of times or the integration. It's just like those sidebar relationship conversations that you have. And you just, and then it's like, it's a mind expander. A lot of times it's like, whoa,
very much.
If this guy can do it, no disrespect to that guy, but if he can do
it,
I got this thing, right?
Exactly.
I got this.
It speaks to the confidence as well. It's like, hey, like I'm watching, like you watch from behind the scenes a little bit and you're like, okay, like if they're implementing this, if they're having that much success, I feel like I might be a better operator or whatever the case is. Like, hey, I think I can work with this a little bit. Right. And then you just implement. And that's where I think so many people lack the skill of implementation. Yeah. But still, it takes a little bit of confidence and desire and know-how to be able to do some of the things. But at the end of it's a fairly simple business as long as you can take some action.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you guys are pretty focused on flips. You've got some rentals and stuff we talked a little bit about that are a little bit sporadic, but most of your stuff is flip. Is that what you foresee the future looking like for you, Carter? Or what does the future look like for you in your business?
Yeah. It's like for us, it's kind of a up in the air question as of right now, but ideally, and as you know, this Corey, it's like, okay, you can scale the business, you can keep scaling it. You need people and everything like that, systems and processes in order to do that. Yeah. But flipping and wholesaling, it is very much a job. Like it's, you're only going to profit off of what you've contracted from the month before or a couple months before. And that's where I'm like, okay, I'm young, so I don't mind doing it. I absolutely love it, actually. Yeah. So I love the chase, finding the next deal, flipping the next house. But I think in the longer term, we're slowly acquiring rentals to not necessarily to be like, hey, this is now income. We're solely focused on this to pay our monthly expenses or our lifestyle or whatever. But we're just slowly acquiring the rentals to then help mitigate some of that cost in the future. So whether it's on the single family rental side or like small multifamily, we have some storage units, acquired a commercial building, and then we're picking up a set of 10 single family rentals. Nice. So I like that side of the business to a certain extent. No, I'm not managing any of those properties. Yeah. So it's a little bit more hands off. We are still like generaling all of the projects that go on there. Okay. Just to make them a little bit more turnkey when we hand them off to property management.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. That's a cost savings too, because property management, they most of them I found actually, I just had one unit. We had to turn it $22,000, Carter, to turn this. Yeah, it was bad, I guess. It was pretty bad. But I was like, that sounds ridiculous for a 2-bedroom apartment. We got to spend 22 grand. So I had a contractor of mine that does some flips for us go out there. It was pretty reasonably priced, and then I had just a flooring. Yeah. Couple of flooring contractors go look at it because I thought the flooring price was way too high. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Property management came back actually a little cheaper than the total other things. So it was good to like check them though, right? Correct. Like, all right, because this seemed out of line, right? Like, but I checked them and I was like, you know what? Go ahead and take care of it. I don't have to coordinate it then. You guys knock it out. Deal with the payments and the W-9s. Oh, exactly. The crap. Yeah.
And that's where, like on our side with the flipping experience, like I generally know our prices quite well. So whether I'm walking a place to make an offer or I'm walking it to keep it as a rental, it's like I have a pretty good understanding of what this should cost. Yeah. It's like if we have property management give us an estimate, I'm like, okay, that seems a little bit steep. Yeah. We'll send our guys in, get things done in a timely manner, and then move on from the place or just re-rent it or whatever the case might be. So that's helped out quite well on the buy and hold side of things. And I'm actually extremely grateful for that because it's like without it, and I know people always have the questions like, well, how do you know how much rehab costs are going to be? Or how do you know if you're going to be on budget, over budget, or what this material is going to cost? It's like, well, it's a little bit of experience, a little bit of talking to contractors, pricing out material yourself, go to Menards or Lowe's or Home Depot or whoever you decide to use.
Yeah.
And then you can get a general idea on how much of this is going to be labor versus how much is going to be actual material cost.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's important on any type of,
Yeah.
if you're going to try to self-acquisition, like if even for
Yeah.
us wholesaling, our guys got to know what price of rehab is because they got to know who's our customer. It's you,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
it's somebody else that's looking to flip. What are you guys going to have to put into this thing? And then how do we make sure you guys still have enough spread there to make money, right? So we have to
Exactly.
get it at a price that everybody can win at. And so those prices keep changing. Like the flooring price, I kept telling my guys, I'll see their budgets. And I'm like, guys, you got to budget more for flooring nowadays. Like it's more expensive than it was 2 years ago. Like you're still running 2 year ago numbers. You gotta tighten it up. So it's a constant adjustment. That's the moving needle all the time, right? And everybody needs to know that rehab, rentals, doesn't matter. You need to know what your rehab costs are because that's going to affect everything of how you're evaluating what is a good deal and what's not a good deal, right?
Exactly. And that's where I'm like, I always tell some of the guys that work with us, like you can probably afford to be off on a rehab by 10%. Like overall, maybe it's a $3,000 or $4,000 difference, not a huge deal breaker. But if you're off on an ARV by 10%, well, that's a big one. We have a problem. Yeah, now we have an issue. I'm like, now this goes from a great deal to very mediocre or losing money. I'm like, we can't afford to do that. So it's like there's certain things that there is a little bit of wiggle room with. But overall, if you can nail down those initial buy price or resale price, you should be in a somewhat decent spot. And you can make it work.
And I would say you have a competitive advantage then on the rental side of things too, because you understand your rehab costs. Your turn times can be a lot quicker than somebody who's relying on third parties to get it done. And you can make offers a lot more confidently knowing your rehab numbers. I feel like one of the biggest things we did, Carter, I don't know if you were at this meeting or not, but one of the REI success meetings, we broke down a flip that we did.
Yes.
You remember this one?
Yep.
And we gave everybody the worksheets on different tables and we had everybody come up with their own rehab budgets. And it was fascinating to see the discrepancy in rehab numbers. Some people were at like 30 grand. Other people were at like 90 grand for the same scope of work. And we're like, whoa, no wonder why some people aren't buying deals. Like you're running your numbers way off. And our actual rehab was 17,000, I think, on the one that we gave. And nobody was at 17. They were all way above, which is probably good if you're underwriting a deal. You want to be a little bit over, but 90 grand off. Like you're never going to get a deal. You're never going to get a deal that way.
And then they make offers based upon that. And it's like, well, why am I $40,000 lower than the other investor who offered on this deal? It's like, well, again, if you don't necessarily know how to run your numbers, and it's just, honestly, it's a conversation to be had with other, maybe it's experienced investors in the area or contractors or what have you. It's like, pick your poison on that side. Yeah. But if you just have those conversations and it takes 15, 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, that someone probably would be willing to share their time with you to help you run through some numbers. And I always give that on my side. It's like, hey, if someone has questions, feel free to reach out. Like I can run through a whole entire scope of remodel or rehab cost based upon photos, video. It's once you do it a few different times, you can pretty much do it based upon that.
For sure.
And I always recommend people reach out to someone that you know or trust or like.
Yep.
Like that always helps.
And I always used to tell people, hey, get a contractor and go through some of the properties together. But then I was I figured out some of the contractors were not the right contractors. We talked about mentors before. Now you got a guy who's 3 times the price of somebody else you could get. And now you're running all your numbers off of that one contractor's numbers. For sure. And you're like, gosh, I can't get a deal. These numbers are too high. People want too much money for the properties. And you're like, well, how did that guy get it and make money on it? They're doing something you're not doing, right? And so that's something I'm always trying to get across to people too, is people I've had people on our buyers list for 4 or 5 years. They've never bought a deal. And they say, all of the properties are too expensive. And I'm like, you can't possibly say that. We did 140 deals last year. Yeah. Other investors bought 140 deals from us and made money on, I would assume, a vast majority of those.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So they're doing something you're not doing. So like you said, I would try to figure out, what are they doing? How are they running their numbers that you're not doing? Because you're missing out. 100% of zero is zero. And you're missing out on a ton of deals that you can be making some pretty good profits on.
And then they either make excuses for that inaction or whatever. It's like, oh, well, it's overpriced or whatever the case is. And okay, depending upon the risk threshold, it's like you can't expect to make, at least in my opinion, and teach your own, you can't expect to make a $50,000 pop on a deal that's necessarily being wholesale. It's like you're going to make something, But it's like, yeah, everyone has to make money in this transaction. The wholesaler has to make money. The seller has to make money. You have to make money as a flipper or landlord. You can't expect these huge windfalls, especially if you have zero overhead going into it.
Right. You have no marketing costs. You're just get in an email.
I'm like, yeah, it's and people who think that way, I always think, I'm like, well, yeah, everyone would love that business model. Like if you can make 50 grand a pop for not doing anything,
right,
wonderful. Like sign me up.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not realistic. Like there's going to take either follow up on your part or marketing or advertising or relationships or whatever in order to do that on a consistent basis, I should
Correct. Say. Yeah. You'll get, that I've seen ruin people too, Carter, is they get one good deal from us or from another wholesaler. Yeah. They make a $50,000 pop, barely doing anything. And they're like, this is how it's going to go every time. And then they look at, then they're underwriting all the deals with those numbers. And they're like, all these deals suck. I would only make 25,000 for doing nothing. I can't.
Hey, when you're doing it, and that's where, like for us on our side, and I don't know if it helps the listeners or viewers or anything like that, but we generally underwrite things to, depending upon the marketplace or competition on the deal. It's like, if I know other investors are going in there, we're going to have to be a little bit more competitive. Yeah. So then it's like that flip profit shrinks down a decent amount to offer a little bit more competitive offer. And then it's like we're possibly changing the strategy on the backside. It's like, do we just clean this out, relist it, or do we do a lot lighter cosmetic remodel and try to get away with it, or what do we do? Yeah. So it's like you can't expect to make, well, maybe you can, depending upon your marketplace. In Fox Valley, I wouldn't necessarily expect to make 50 grand to flip.
Right.
Yeah. So
be awesome.
Depends on the person. Yeah. It would be awesome. Amazing.
Yeah.
It would be amazing.
Awesome. We wouldn't be doing nearly as much volume if we were making that.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. It's like, you might have the one-off ones, but for the most part, you just have to be a little bit more realistic.
Yeah. How do you make that determination, I guess, as we start to get close to wrapping here, Carter? You know, like, because that's something I think is always interesting for us, is like when we get a property and we can't find a buyer for it, so we just take it down ourselves or whatever. We're always trying to in that battle of like, well, do we go full rehab? Do we just clean and list this sucker? Like, what are you looking at, or how are you making that determination when you're evaluating things?
So I always, and I've told this to numerous people, I look at our profit per month. So if I'm like, if we can clean and relist this place and make, I don't know, 10 grand per month or 20 grand overall, or whatever the numbers might be. Say it's a net $30,000 profit, but it takes us 3 months. It's realistically $10,000 per month. Yeah. So if I'm like, well, we have to stick in $30,000 in this renovation or $40,000, and we're still going to make that net 10 grand per month. Mm-hmm. And we might be better off just buying it, cleaning out, relisting it, making $10,000 profit in a month. That's how I always look at everything. And for us, like, we've had some longer flip projects that profit less than that. And I'm like, well, we would have been better off cleaning this out or wholesaling it or finding a wholesale buyer or whatever the case is and making the same thing.
Interesting. I've never heard anybody use that. I think that's genius.
And that's where it's like, on our side, we normally evaluate it from the get-go of, hey, we're going to take this down ourselves, flip it. Yeah. Do we always do that? Of course not. Like it's whether we decide to wholesale it before then, just an assignment of contract, or double close it or whatever. But that's how I evaluate literally everything that we buy. As long as it fits the certain profit threshold of profit per month, then I'm happy. If it doesn't, then we're just going to try to find a different exit strategy from the get-go.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say something about like, well, if the comps are this and they're
no,
it's or something like. I thought it was going to be that way. Okay.
No. So that's cool, how we're evaluating everything that we run across.
I like that. How are you running your numbers? So this is interesting because for us, we have a little spreadsheet we use and boop, we put it in. Do you have any certain tools that you've got created or done, and then what are the numbers of how you're figuring out, is this a deal or not a deal?
So I always take for us, like I said, we evaluate it like we're going to buy it. So it's, and then we can kind of decide afterwards what we want to do with it. So I always take the ARV, I multiply that by about 90%. I subtract off 10% right off the top for holding costs, realtor commissions, closing costs, everything like that. Mm-hmm. I subtract off so I have the 90% value. So if it's a 200 grand house, once it's repaired, we're at 180 at that point.
Yep.
I subtract off our rehab costs. We'll say it's $20,000. So we're at 160. Then depending upon how much we want to make, I subtract off the profit margin. That's literally how we always arrive at a offer amount that we're comfortable with. Now, if it needs more renovation work, we want to make more money. If it needs less renovation work, we can afford to make less money.
Very interesting, dude. We use the exact same thing.
It's the service. Easiest. Yeah. It's the easiest way to do it. And then, like, of course, depending upon who the end buyer is, they might be comfortable making $15,000 on the flip, or they want to make more.
Right.
It's like I always leave that up to them, because I don't want to make or put my thought patterns in their head of like, hey, you need to at least make 25 grand on this place. Most people are really happy making less than that.
Right.
I'm like, hey, good for you. Like, it doesn't even matter. And if we can win on our side, if they can win on their side, fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. That was Caleb Hayes gave me that years ago. I don't know if you know Caleb, but
no, I've talked to him a couple different times.
Okay.
Not in super deep detail. But yeah, when I was actually thinking about making the transition to KW, I was talking to him a little bit. So
yeah, he's a beast. He was one of our early mentors too. And he was
genius.
doing a lot. He's genius.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of flips. Like he was basically running like the same operation you're running now. Yeah. Now he's kind of, as we say, graduated, I guess, into the commercial space. Like, I got to get him on here. We've emailed back and forth about getting him on here a couple times, but he's a very focused individual. So it's sometimes a challenge, but he's also very giving, dude. He's very giving of his time, and he's an amazing contributor. But then he taught me that formula. I mean, that's literally the same exact formula he used when he was flipping about the same amount of properties you're doing now, back in the mid 2010s, if that's a thing. I don't even know how you say it.
No kidding. Think if he would have just kept everything.
Oh my gosh, I know. That's why I think he transitioned to commercial now. He's killing it. He's doing a lot of office stuff, which is good for him. Kind of against the grain. I mean, those spreads are pretty massive when you look at the burst strategy and some of that stuff on the value adds. I mean, it's pretty wild. You can pick some of the office stuff up cheap right now. You get it a little longer process. You got to have a little bit of capital or some backing there to be able to cover the vacancy for a while, but you get it rented out, man. You get some pretty sick leases. And so I got to get them on here, and we got to break that down a little bit.
Yeah. Without it, it's invaluable. Like, you can't even put a price on that.
Yeah. But going back to mentorship, he was a guy I'm like, this dude he's living a life I want to live. He's flipping a ton of properties. Like, how do I get a meeting with this guy? Like, I need to sit down with him. And then he ended up just being like, hey, come back every month, do this. And if you do it all, I'll sit down with you again next month. And we're like, okay, we got to do it. Like, just amazing person. Right. So like, who would do that? Who would take that time? But
it's so cool.
Awesome.
It is. Yeah. It's amazing when people are willing to do that.
Yeah. He's a beast. Well, Carter, I know you got some properties to flip. You got sellers to talk to. We got to get you out of here. You've been very gracious with your time as well today. We always ask one little fun question at the end. Because the reason I started doing this is we get people from out of state who want to maybe invest in the state. And so we like to tell them a little bit about Wisconsin. What is Wisconsin all about? So do you have a favorite Wisconsin tradition or a place you like to visit here in this great state?
Place I like to visit. I was thinking about this. Honestly, in my wife and I, we just had our wedding anniversary. I think we're going on 6 years. I think. Dude,
you're not even in it that long.
Yeah, I know.
That's not even that long. You're not even double digits yet. You're forgetting.
I know. But no, we've been together for 13. So I know that for a fact.
Okay.
But what we always did on our like dating anniversary, Devil's Lake. Most amazing place. Like it's hiking, sightseeing, and it's so gorgeous, so pretty. If you guys like hiking, sightseeing, I would highly recommend that. Because like there's really nothing else like that in Wisconsin, at least in my opinion. Yeah. So I would highly recommend that to anyone who's wanting to come to the state, visiting, wants to do a little bit of hiking. It's gorgeous.
I got to get back there, man. It's been like probably 15 years since I've been at Devil's Lake, and I got to get back there, dude. Yeah.
That's like, and you're up in Door County, so it's a little bit different, but that's equally as pretty. I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, well, Door County, Devil's Lake, like they're kind of a horse piece, but no, it's Devil's Lake is probably one of
it's a unique spot.
It is. It's like there's nothing like it in the state. So
I would agree.
Definitely encourage people to go there, visit if you like hiking or anything like that. It's really, really pretty.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Well, fall time is coming.
Hey,
It's a great time. Get out there and the leaves will be
exactly.
changing too. Get a little crispy air. It's perfect, man. Love
Exactly.
it. Love it.
Well,
Well,
I
Carter, man.
appreciate it, Corey.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on, dude. If people want to reach out to you at all,
Yeah.
you know, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you, Carter?
Yeah, Carter Crowley on any social media platform. Can I give them my cell number? Is that
If you would like to, that's
kosher with it?
You, right?
Yeah. If you want to call me, text me, feel free. I will respond as time
awesome.
permits on that side. But 920-252-2864 is my personal cell.
And Carter's a great follow on social media. You do a lot on social, dude, and that's, you know, part of your acquisition strategy as well. So if you guys are looking for tips on that, he would definitely be a guy to go follow out there. If you guys enjoyed today's episode as well, please share this with your audience, because that's a great way, as I say in every episode, for you to let people know you're looking at either getting into real estate or that you do real estate. By you sharing this show, it's going to help you bring in some private lenders, maybe get a couple deals, whatever the case might be. So share the show. And again, if you are looking to get some deals, go to wisconsindiscountproperties.com, plug your info in. If you're not ready to get started and you're just like, hey, what's this real estate thing about? I listened to an episode. I want to talk to somebody. You can also just fill out a contact us form on there without getting on the buyer's list yet. So you can go on the website and do that. And check out the next show, because we're going to have another good one next week, like we do every week. Carter, appreciate you, man.
Hey, appreciate you, Corey.
All right. See you guys on the next episode.